parents who are looking to adopt, we have friends that we met as part of the anniversary, or the lifelong anniversary in Dallas, and we actually got a chance to stay with them on our journey out to Michigan, and they're hoping to start with lifelong, I guess sometime the end of this year or next year. And we got a chance to talk with them a lot, and the one thing we shared with them is just trust the process, be patient. You know, if you hear the phrase, where there's a will, there's a way. You know, you put a lot into it, and like Ozzy said earlier, there's good days, bad days, there's regular days, there's horrible days, there's days where you're like, I don't know if I can do this. There's days where you feel like, hey, this is, I'm so glad we did this, so it's and those are more than any other. But just trust the process. If this is something that you're really looking to do, prepare yourself for a roller coaster journey. It is very emotional. There's a lot that you have to put into it. You really have to be committed, 100, not even 100%, 110% you need to give. You need to be on call all the time, and making sure that you're communicating with everybody, not just your birth mom, but once you connect, but with everybody. It takes a lot of communication. And also too, you have to you need to be able to trust each other and feed off of each other and communicate with each other, because it's not easy when you're going through a stressful process and you're cooped up in hotels and you're at home and anxiety's flowing, and even just between you and your spouse, it's there's a lot of communication that has to be kept open, and you need to be able to share how you're feeling at all times, so that you can really stay sane and make it through together.
Yeah, and for me basically it's a scary process, because you just don't know what to expect. You're not in control of the process, but what you're in control is on the successful of your placement. This is something that you and your spouse have to work on basically while you get connected, because not only the situation, not only the process is what's going to help you on the placement, but it's your relation with the birth mother. You have a lot to do with the child placement when it's there. If the birth mother doesn't trust you, if you don't feel comfortable with how to communicate, how things work, if things can change, So basically, be compassionate about this person, put yourself in that situation and get to know why this is happening. That is going to help you, to communicate with her and basically develop this trust, because she has to trust you at the end of the day, Yeah. It's not part of, the process is there, the agency is there, but basically this person is giving her child to you.
Yeah, she's entrusting that.
She's entrusting you that. You need to make sure that trust and that love is there before the child is born.
Yeah.
So another piece of advice that we learned post-placement basically was that there's sorry. I lost it.
Oh, yeah.
Beep, beep. I was too concentrated on another piece of advice and then I didn't connect to the other one.
Yeah, you just say another piece.
So another piece of advice that we learned post-placement was basically the huge role that the adoptive family has on the placement of this child. I didn't think of it throughout the process, but basically you have a lot to do with it, when you're getting to know this person, she needs to make sure that she trusts you, that the kid is gonna be fine, that you're gonna provide the best. So it's basically giving her that certainty, that trust and the chance to know you, the chance to know who you really are. So that way it can be a successful placement.
Yeah, I think too, what you're trying to say also is, it's the agency that, is kind of, they help navigate you and they help connect you and they help really get you together. But once you're there, it is ultimately your responsibility to manage that relationship, to feed that relationship and make sure that that relationship continues to grow, rather, not continues to grow. But just making sure that, that relationship continues to grow, and that you are really putting forth, your effort. And like Ozzy said, that you're developing that relationship and that birth mom trusts you wholeheartedly. It's not the agency's responsibility for that birth mom to trust you. It is your responsibility to hone in on that and develop that piece.
Yeah, and if you when you have any questions, when you have any doubts, when you don't know what to do, definitely you reach out directly to Mark, to Jeanette.
They're always available.
And
always.
They tell you exactly, what you should do, what you should think. They give you the right tools for you to execute the communication. But then it's up to you. How are you gonna implement that process? Just don't be afraid to ask questions. Nobody knows about the process. A lot of us, it's the first time that we're adopting, so everything that you think you know,
you don't.
You don't. Because everybody has a different opinion, even if you ask your families and friends and everybody, people think they know, but actually when you go into the process, it's a different game,
And that's part of trusting the process, is learning to navigate, what that is. And trusting the process really means trusting your agency, trusting lifelong to give you the tools that you need to be successful. But ultimately that success lies on your shoulders. You have to manage that relationship to make it a success.